All right, 3 lines from the bottom on page AyinBase 5. So we have made a point in the beginning of this second section that Surah Atzmis is applicable not only to the Etzem, but to the Oir Atzmi also. As we had the illustration from the Shemesh, and the reason that Surah Atzmi is applicable to the Oir Atzmi is that the Oir Atzmi is not something that is being produced on a functional level. It is there because the Etzem is there. And not only because the Etzem is there, because of what the Etzem is, because the Etzem is an Atzmi, that's why there is Oir. The Oir is a representative of the Atzmiyus of the Etzem, rather than the functional aspect, the Behiriyus of the Etzem. And for us, this is the motion from the Oir HaShemesh. It would be, it's even more clear when we speak about the human being. And the human being, his presence, excuse me, is felt and affects his entire surrounding. Just like in a home. But the primary effect, the primary principle of a person being in a home is not the fact that he claims ownership or that he sets it up according to his wishes, but his presence itself. This is what actually defines the reality of the home. And this presence is representative of the truth of his essential presence, of the atzmius of the person. Like we said, the Gemara says, Odom she'ene Beis ene Odom, is not from a functional element. He doesn't have a home, so he cannot really sit calmly and learn. Ein Beis ene Odom means that the very definition of a human being in the world is that he has a home. This is an atzmi element because a person's presence in the world is an atzmi, is of an essential quality. Therefore, the oir, so to speak, the effect of that he has upon his surrounding is also of the same quality. Which we discussed many times before. But here, the emphasis that this oir has the quality of an oir atzmi, and not only that, it's called a tzelem. Tzelem means a form. It has always been questioned, we discussed it many times, that mitzvahs, in general, our activities seem to be focused on the external. Stand shemanesa, stand still. What you're thinking, what you're saying even, is of secondary importance. The important thing is how you stand in one place. And this is something which we find in all aspects of Torah and Mitzvot. You put on tefillin on your head, most people don't even know what's contained in those tefillin. What is the principle in this? Tefillin and every mitzvah is a direct statement from the essence of the person that I am in a godly domain. It's not a question what I know and how I understand it. This is the domain, this is where I am, this is who I am. The cello. So it comes through on the functional, on the oil level, but this oil is an oil atzim. In other words, the principle of standing by Shemoneh Esrei is the recognition of the atzim, not of the significance of it, of how I understand it. So let's see the next line, and then we'll bring it back to what we're discussing now. Ukmo came 3 lines from the bottom on AyinBase 5. Ukmo came yuva. Similarly, we understand the whole oil hadovek ba'etzem. That every oil, any oil, hadovek ba'etzem, that is connected to the etzem, shuhu k'moi ho'etzem. In that case, this oil is k'moi ho'etzem because it's dovek ba'etzem. Again, we learned it yesterday. Oil hadovek ba'etzem means that the reason there is this oil is because it is dovek ba'etzem. It is dovek ba'etzem. And therefore, that oil is k'moi ho'etzem. Is like the etzem. As we explained, for example, what is the oil hashemesh? K'moi ho'etzem. It is k'moi ho'etzem in the sense that the shemesh, light to the shemesh, is a primary reality. It is not an add-on. And you said by the shemesh, light is there on a simple level, just like darkness by us. The oil that emanates, or that is representative of the presence of the shemesh, is k'moi ho'etzem, because it's dovek ba'etzem. It is there only when the etzem is present, and therefore, and that oil is k'moi ho'etzem. Meaning to say that oil also presents a excuse me, a quality of oil that does not need to work to illuminate. Its very presence illuminates. There's an expression, Chassidus, the Rebbe mentioned it many times, Ma'at oir doiche harbe min hachoshech. This is true in general. Ma'at oir doiche harbe min hachoshech. A little oil displaces a lot of the darkness. In this case, we say the oil dovek ba'etzem shu k'moi ho'etzem, the oil actually eliminates the darkness. Doesn't just displace it, eliminates it, because there's the etzem. And the sense of that oil is that there is no such thing as darkness. So then, when the oil is dovek ba'etzem, and then that oil is k'moi ho'etzem, harei zeh b'bchinas tzura atzmus. That oil is qualified, is in the quality of tzura atzmis. which means that even though it is a tzura, meaning it's oir, and it has a functional description, but it is a tzura atzmis. The effect of that oir is not due through a functional and definitive and definable element. It is on an essential level. It just eliminates the whole principle of darkness. Darkness doesn't exist in the presence of this oir. Like you always point out, if you have a flashlight or a candle light, see, oh, this light enables me to see around. It's totally out of kilter to say that daytime, oh, I can see across the street. That doesn't define daytime. It changes the entire situation. And not to see is impossible, unless you have you block your eyes, or unless you have a vision problem. That's mitzvah atzmis. And this is what's called tzelem. Again, shehu bechinas oir atzmi. Tzelem is the bechina of oir atzmi. Means an oir that is at the essential level, not just on a functional level. Again, an essential level means that this oir makes a statement that darkness does not exist. Being that he is k'moi ha'etzem, and this is why this is an Eir Atzmi. And this is what's called tzelem. Because what this oir, the statement of this oir is not that there is light. The statement that in this oir is that there is a sun. You okay with it?
Yeah.
You give yourself like a cardiogram?
No.
Avol ha'oir ha'meir ali dover ha'mastir u'mafsik, but the oil that shines via something that conceals and interferes, shuhu nivda min ha'etzem. Therefore, this oil is nivda min ha'etzem, is separated from the etzem. Again, please understand what that means. This oil is just oil. There's no etzem. You don't see the etzem. You don't even know where it's coming from. It's a functional element of oil. Harei zeh bechinas demus. That goes into the category of demus. Demus means likeness. Comes from the word doime. She'einoi bechinas oir atzmi, which means that it doesn't have the element of oir atzmi. There's a likeness to it, but it's not oir atzmi. Let's point out, oir on any level has a likeness to oir atzmi. In what sense? The very phenomenon that you could relate and see an object without a physical object. But by definition, it is a tangible element, and you can observe it and relate to it and know everything about it without touching it. This is the mus of Oir Atzmi.
And for that you need davar mafsik.
No. This is a doime, so to speak. This is approximately. This is like Oir Atzmi. Let's focus in on this. Oir Atzmi, as we said before, is something that is representative of the Etzem. The Etzem is everywhere, and the Etzem eliminates all opposition and encompasses everything. And this is what the Oir Atzmi is. Then there is another level of Ayin. It's called Damus. It has a similar effect, but it's not exactly the same thing. And what is a similar effect? That you could see the object without coming in contact with it. This is really an anomaly. This is a separate object from you. How is it that you could see it? The effect of it is what this oil is doing is the following. Yes, this object is a separate entity from you. But in principle, you're both in the same domain. You're both encompassed by the same reality. There is not a real separation between you. It's a relative separation. There's some distance, but not in reality. This is why you can see and relate to this object without having to touch it, because you're touching it by being in the same domain. Oir Atzmi is literally eliminating the whole phenomenon of space. Everything is one. This is the moose. So there is a distance and there is a space, and it has, and you see it from a distance, but the distance itself is contained within a reality that encompasses both. Which is why there is that possibility of sight, of seeing it. Okay, this may sound a little bit revolutionary, and so I want to explain. Why is it revolutionary? Because the one of the explanation is that there is a light that hits the object, and then the light deflects, and the light that is carried onto your eye, and you see it from a distance. You're not in the same proximity.
I don't think it sounds revolutionary from the other direction, because we always explain that the gift of sight is
a what?
That you see it because it's real.
Yeah.
Now we're going even more.
You're absolutely. It's not revolutionary from our perspective.
No, I'm saying, but this is down a level. Like the reason why we see it is because we're in the same domain. It sounds lower than we see it because it's real.
No. The same domain is because it's real. How is it? How are you in the same domain? That's just explaining it more in the seichel that you in seichel oisius. We have an opportunity to focus in and understand a certain phenomenon, which we already discussed in different levels.
When you say in the same domain, you mean because they're both part of the same reality? Or
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
This is what enables that kind of relationship. Again, you come from a worldly perspective and says, no, these are two separate entities. I hits, this guy hits, and he hits. That's not seichel. That's the animal way of looking at things. So we explained, for example, in Chassidus there's a reference says there is a koyach halicha, koyach of walking, koyach halicha, and they explain what koyach halicha is. There's all kinds of different different deep insights. Halicha means you can move from one place to the other, and rise up and halicha. Halicha is not a koyach halicha. The koyach is to move your legs. And the reason that when you move your legs, you move, is because there is friction, and the legs push away against the dry land, and you move. There's no koyach halicha. So we have explained many times, this applies to all the koyachs. This is similar in the same vein as what we say. The rain comes down to feed the earth. Who says the rain comes down? The rain comes down because the clouds cannot hold it. And the fact that the earth is fed has nothing to do with the rain. Doesn't even know what its effect is. So we're saying no. The rain comes down to feed the earth. And the mountains produce grass to supply grazing for the animals. There is a reality in everything. And the same thing is in koyach halicha. The reason a person is able to walk by moving his legs is the less lick, so to speak, the less moment to connect, to bring this koyach halicha into the physical domain. But that's how the koyach halicha. Koyach halicha is the sense that a person senses that, yeah, I'm here, but I can also be here. This is a phenomenal thing. This is a koyach halicha of the nefesh. Like you're pointing out, it's an interesting phenomenon. It's all very vivid things. It's most evident in driving a bicycle. Every child knows, you drive a bicycle, you have to look to where you're going, not where you are and how you're moving on the ground. If you look at the ground where you move where you are, you're going to fall. In other words, there is the element in the person's mind where he's going, but he's not there. He's here. This is what's in the soul of man, that he is there. And this is why this is the koyach halicha. Then that translates in moving your legs and pushing against the ground. That is only, as I said, bringing it down to the most fundamental physical level. But that's not halicha. In halacha, this is reflected. It's very interesting. That if you carry a Shabbos, if you carry a living person, an alert person, and Shabbos, it's not called carrying. You know the halacha, everybody heard it. Because you have to have the legs on the ground to carry yourself. How are you noisy yisatzu? It clearly states the carrying is in the mind, is in the spirit, is in the soul. This is what the whole thing is dependent on. This is the spirit behind it all, not the legs. This is the principle of the saying that this is called the mus. You don't have the actual chayz on nefesh because it translates on the gashmisik level. All the real gashmis, when you see, because there's a light emanating from the source, it's not oiratzmi. It doesn't eliminate darkness, but nevertheless, it's the mus. It's similar. It's approximating it. Because the reason there is such a thing is because it is one. And there is a unity.
I'm not sure if I'm getting this. The mus, the likeness, how do we tie that now back to the seeing and the walking? What are we saying? That the fact that there's physical walking is based on a spiritual walk?
Yes. Because there is a unity between you, where you are and where you're going to.
Right, so that's the that's the koyach unto itself. And then the fact that you move your legs, this is like the lower level, this is the demus, the representation?
No. Well, I said no too quickly. The fact that the spirit carries you over there, that's the mus. In essence, to begin with, you're not separate.
Oh, you are already there.
Right. That's the essence. When it translates on the koyach level, there is the distance, and you have to cover the distance by moving your legs. And the similar thing is in sight. That oyer shadover hamafsik, oyer shein adover b'ho'etzim. That's real oyer. That's not what. This is an emanation, and the functional emanation of the oyer ho'atzim. And it's called the mus. The mus means a similarity. What is the similarity? Similarity is in the fact that you see it from a distance. So that means there is a unifying factor involved. Because the fact that you can see it from a distance means that there is an unifying element.
Okay. And the fact that there's distance makes it demus.
What?
And the fact that there is some kind of distance shows on...
The fact that you recognize distance is not what it makes it mus.
Right.
It's at the etzem there is no distance to begin with.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we are on AyinBase 6.
So basically we're saying that even though the atzmi is concealed, it's not totally concealed. Because because it is represented on a different level, on a lower level.
Right, it's still oyer but exactly right. It is not totally concealed. This is why we point it out all the time. This world is a world, but it doesn't conceal God in this totally. Wherever you look, you see the effect of the godly infinity. Okay, top line. V'ho'inyan yuvan, we'll just start. V'ho'inyan yuvan l'maylo. So this principle, now, you'll be able to, from this moshel of the Ir HaShemesh, but there are two states of the Ir HaShemesh. When the oyer is dovuk b'ho'etzem, and when the oyer, there's a dover hamafsik. When there is dover hamafsik, like there is clouds and all that, and it's not in direct presence of shemesh, it is an oyer that emanates from the shemesh. This is all a moshel to the inyan l'mayl. V'hine yodua, so it is known, befirush oyer ein soif. In the explanation of the term of Oyer Ein Sof, the infinite light. What is the difficulty with Oyer Ein Sof? Pirush Oiresh. As we already pointed out on a different arena, there is a phenomenon that we all experience on a constant basis. We open our eyes, we stand up on the hill, we open our eyes, and in one instant, less than an instant, it's as fast as I can see it. I see the entire panorama, and it may encompass tens of miles. Who knows, maybe hundreds of miles. Miles is measurable space. Measurable space requires covering it. And yet, there is not a sense that we are looking at measurable space. Similarly over here, we said Oyer Ein Sof. Oyer means an emanation, a light. Ein Sof. Ein Sof means infinite. What does it mean it's infinite? I can perceive Oyer Ein Sof. If it's an emanation, then it may go indefinitely, but what you are perceiving is always finite.
When you say that we're not seeing measurable space, is that because the experience that we have is just like we see the entire reality at once?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not measurable because we're not trying, that's not what we're focused on at
You're
all.
not seeing it through its measures. Doesn't mean it's not measurable. You're not seeing it cumulatively. Oh, I saw 1 mile, another mile, another mile. You see one big reality, and that reality is really subdividable into individual blocks. How is that?
First you see the whole, and then.
Well, this we will pursue tomorrow, Mitzvah. Okay, this is it for this morning.
Yeah.